What is up, guys? My name is MipZ and welcome back for yet another League of Legends video. So today we're playing my absolute favorite ADC of all time. You can also play her in top lane, but she's primarily an ADC and she's amazing. She is what most people consider to be a hyper carry. She's absolutely amazing and you can pretty much 1v9 on her. She's kind of the bot lane version of a Riven. And yeah, this is my personal favorite champion, so I hope you guys are going to enjoy this one. Today we are of course playing Vayne. So the way this video is going to work is, first of all, we are in the practice tool, and the reason for this is that first of all we will go through all of the abilities very basically, fundamentally, make sure that you know everything about them. Then we'll move into kind of how these things are combined and why they work. And like talk about the combos and the advanced combos, like how to redirect your E with your flash and stuff, some really advanced stuff. And then afterwards we'll go into a real game where we will talk about the early, mid and late game, like the general strategy of playing the champion. So this will be like an overall guide for anyone who wants to main Vayne or just kind of learn how to play with her or against her or whatever, like kind of just it'll be an overall guide for everything. So I hope you guys are really going to enjoy this one. If you do, then make sure to smash that like button if you found it helpful, enjoyable, or something else. And yeah, if you haven't already subscribed to the channel, then guys, what the hell are you doing? Go ahead, subscribe down below. Join our family. We've been growing so freaking fast lately, so I really appreciate that. And if you do want to see me live, then I stream every single Friday on twitch.tv/MipZ_live. And it's really chill. You should come hang out. Anyway, let's just kind of move into this one. So first of all, we are going to talk about the ability that nobody wants to know anything about because it's boring and you don't click it, and that is the passive. This is the one that always kind of raises eyebrows. But as I always say, the passive ability on champions is actually most commonly the most important one. And the reason for this is that it tells you how the champion likes to be played. For Vayne, her passive is called Night Hunter. And what this basically just does is that it allows Vayne to run faster when she runs towards an enemy. So what basically happens is that if Vayne runs towards an enemy, she gains 30 movement speed, which basically means that even at level 1 you will run faster than whatever you're running after, even without boots. So this is something you really got to keep in mind. If people overplay their hand, then you can actually pretty easily catch up to them because of the fact that you run faster than them even without boots at level 1. This is really important. So this kind of tells us that Vayne is insane at catching her opponents. When she sticks to a target, they rarely get away because she runs faster. So that's all our passive does. It's quite simple. We're going to come slightly back to it when we talk about the ult because they kind of have a correlation with that one. Anyway, let's now talk about our Q, which is Tumble. This is the one that most people probably know Vayne for. This is basically this roll that she does on the ground. It's fairly simple. What this one does is that it allows you to tumble in any direction for like a short distance, which is kind of cool. Basically, whenever you do this, then your next attack is going to deal bonus damage that is equal to up to 80% of your attack damage. This means that you basically just get an empowered attack, which is quite significant. But the thing with it is that it is also what we commonly refer to as an auto attack reset. What an auto attack reset basically just means, it means that if you auto attack then do the tumble, then you will auto attack straight away after without kind of having to wait. So you can basically see if you shoot, you can get an instant auto attack out just after. So this basically tells us that you always want to use your Q after an auto attack, of course, unless you're using your Q to maneuver away from a skill shot or something else. So this is kind of all this thing does. It should be noted that this bonus damage is not increased if the attack critical strikes. Anyway, that's kind of all there is for the Tumble. It's fairly simple. We'll get into kind of how some of the things, one of the things I just showed you guys. For those of you who noticed, I will tell you again when we get to the combos, but like you can cancel the animation slightly by doing it into a wall to optimize damage. But we'll talk a bit more about that when in the combos section. Anyway, our next ability is actually what kind of makes Vayne into the hyper carrier that she is. And that is her W, what is called Silver Bolts. And Silver Bolts is kind of a weird one. What this basically does is that every time Vayne attacks a target, she applies one of these silver rings or a golden ring, whatever, these silver bolts thing. One of these rings does nothing on themselves, but if you hit the same target 3 times consecutively, this basically means that you don't auto attack one thing then another one. You can see it swaps target if I attack different targets. So basically you have to attack the same target 3 times. If you do so, then these silver balls basically proc or explode or whatever you want to call it. And what happens is that it then deals from 4 to 14% of your target's maximum health as true damage, as a bonus damage. And this is pretty insane, because what this basically means is that, first of all, for those of you who don't know what true damage is, then true damage is basically just saying that it ignores any armor or magic resist that a target might have. So this is plain out damage the target cannot do anything against. And this is kind of cool. So at max level of your silver balls, it can deal up to 14% of the target's health, maximum health, as damage. So this becomes really insane, as you guys might imagine. But what's the tricky part is basically making sure that you hit the same target 3 times, because if you can see, if we start hitting different targets, we don't ever get anywhere with our silver balls. So the whole thing with Vayne is she really actually likes to stick on one target. That's also kind of what or passive tells us. She's good at chasing people down. She's good at sticking at a target and not letting them go. This is what silver balls also really applies to. So generally speaking, sit on one target. That's what we want to do. But that's all our silver balls does. It just allows us to hit, if we hit the same target 3 times, we deal an extra bonus damage that is ridiculously high, because it cannot be ignored or it cannot be decreased by armor or magic resist or anything. All right, so that's all for that one. Then we have our E, and this is where a big part of actually playing Vayne's skill comes in. Vayne's E is called Condemn. And what Condemn basically allows Vayne to do is it allows her to, first of all, it deals a little chunk of damage. You do need to remember this. And one thing that's really nice is it actually also procs 1 proc of silver balls, meaning that let's say we have 2 auto attacks on this target, you can E it and you can see it actually explodes with the silver balls. That's a minor thing, and we'll talk about that in the combos, but it's good to know that hitting with your E does proc a silver ball. Anyway, your E just basically what all it does is it knocks your target back. You can see it deals a little chunk of damage. If the target is knocked into a wall, then they actually take 150% damage from the damage that the Condemn does, and they also get stunned for 1.5 seconds. So this is one of the things to become really cool, is that if you can use your Tumble to position yourself in a way where you can stun your target. So basically you can see from here, I would just knock this guy this way. But if I tumble over here and knock them into the wall, they're going to be stunned. I can just stand here and auto attack. So that's basically what you want to think about with silver balls. Then there are ways of kind of being tricky with this and using what is called the E flash combo. I'll show that one in the combos in a moment. But it basically allows you to make this almost untouchable. Like you got to have 5-headed plays and 300 IQ in order to kind of predict that play. But we'll talk about that one in a second. So that is all our E does. It knocks it back. If the target is knocked into a wall, they take 150% of the damage, and they're stunned for 1.5 seconds. Our last ability is our ult, and this one is freaking amazing. This one is called Final Hour, and what Final Hour allows us to do is basically that Vayne gets her bonus or gains some bonus attack damage on all of her attacks by up to 65, which is kind of insane. So every single attack she does a pretty significant amount of extra damage. And it doesn't really stop there. So first of all, we deal more damage on all of our attacks when a Night Hunter's up. So this is basically a buff that you put on. Its duration is from 8 to 12 8 to 12 seconds. So you can see from 8 to 12 seconds, she basically takes up her crossbow and she deals a good chunk more damage. Also, whenever she does have final hour up and running, then she also triples the effect of her passive. And our passive was this thing that gave us 30 movement speed. Now it gives us 3 times as much movement speed, meaning that we can catch up to targets even faster. This is something you got to think about with Vayne, is that whenever you pop this one, you don't just become hard to run away from, you become almost impossible because you are so freaking fast on your feet. On top of this, then whenever you tumble when final hour is active, then you become invisible. And this is one of the things that you really want to play around with Vayne, is actually using this invisibility to kind of distract or deceive your enemies to think you're somewhere else than you are. This is what really good Vayne players does, using bushes and other things in order to kind of deceive their enemies, and using like basically, yeah, we can say unpredictable movement. I think that's the best word for it. All right, then there's one final effect of your ult, and that is basically if Vayne have damaged a target of some sort, a champion, and that champion dies within 3 seconds, then final hour is extended by 4 seconds. So this basically means that if we have final hour active and this target, we hit this one twice, we don't kill it, but one of our teammates does within 3 seconds of us attacking it, then we get 4 seconds extra duration on our final hour. It should be noted that final hour's duration can never go over 12 seconds. It's capped there. So let's say that we damage this guy and we just popped our final hour. We got the first attack off. This guy dies. Then we don't have 16 seconds or 15 seconds of final hour. It just refreshes to 12 seconds. That's the cap. You cannot get more than that. All right, so that is all of our abilities. So now let's kind of talk about the combos and how to actually combine all of these things. Okay, so the very first thing is that in laning phase, or the laning phase will kind of talk about when we get to the different phases of the game in a second when we go into the game. But what we got to think about here is basically the primary purpose for us when trading, and this is, I just kind of want to show how to trade, is that you want to hit these 3 silver balls. So generally speaking, getting an auto attack in there is what you want to do. You want to do like an auto, a Q, and then into another auto. Then you will most likely win most trades because you get this proc of silver balls. So this is generally speaking the most common combo you will do. The next thing is basically also that you can, as we talked about a little bit earlier, you can use your E in order to get a proc off. So let's say that we want to go for a really fast trade on something, but we don't want to have to stand there for another auto attack. And what we can do is auto attack Q E. Then you can see we already get off the silver ball stack instantly because we have this the E effect. So auto attack, if we do an auto attack Q E, then we will instantly proc this silver balls. And what's cool about it is that if it's because we don't want to go for an extended trade, yes, we might not stun them into wall, but we also push them away from us, meaning that we're going to give them a lot less headroom to actually attack us back. All right, so now let's kind of talk about my absolute favorite trick, and this is the E flash combo. This one is probably going to take most people a little practice to kind of master, because it's kind of weird. But basically what this does is that if we E this target and then we flash to the side, then even though we cast our E while we're right here, then the direction in which the E is going to push the target is not determined by where we casted it, but where we are at the point of the condemn hitting the target. So if we go here and we basically E this target, let's see, if we stand ourselves here, we E this target and then we flash over here. That's our purpose. So we do this. You can see he flies into this wall instead of flying this way. This is kind of cool because this really, you can see how hard it'll be to react on this. Like, not many people will know what to do against this trick. It just because of the nature of it, it is really, really weird. And you can see if I don't flash and I just E, and you'll see I'll just push him backwards. But if I go here and I E and then flash here, you can see we push them to the side. So you got to remember your E, if the knockback effect of it is impacted by the location you're at when the condemn hits the target, not from where it's shot. So yeah, this is kind of a cool one. Then there's another thing, and this is something you're mostly going to be using when you're going for, let's say, Baron, Rift, Herald, etc. Or if you're going for an all-in, the target is not running away, or you just need to optimize your damage. This is the most common usage for it. And this is basically that, let's actually do it down here where we did before, is that if you use your Q into a wall, then you actually kind of cancel the animation. You shorten it quite a lot, meaning that you're going to have less time. You can basically see the difference here. If I do this and then Q, you can see the animation is kind of, it's not long, but it does take a moment. But if we do it into the wall here, you can see it literally basically cancel it. And since she can't like roll, she's just kind of gonna do this little tuck and then shoot straight away. So this is actually a way of shortening your Q's roll and thereby also shortening the time between your auto attacks. But generally speaking, you always want to make sure that you use your Q's after an auto attack so you don't cancel the animation, because it's going to be pretty awkward. You can see basically we go for an attack and we cancel it. It's really it can mean life or death, and it's, as you guys can see, the primary damage we have kind of comes from hitting or 3 consecutive shots with silver bolts. So that is going to be more or less everything in terms of learning how to play Vayne mechanically, like the abilities, how they work together, and the combos and advanced combos. So I hope you guys learned a thing or two. What I've done is basically I've put a full gameplay where I explain how to play Vayne in the early, mid, and late game, and the overall macro of playing the champion, decision making, and what you need to do when playing her. So I've left the link for that one down in the description and also in the end card of this video. You can just click that one, it'll take you right to the video that basically goes through a full game where we apply all the knowledge we've gathered in this practice tool, and also teaches you guys how to actually play the champion in the game and make the best decision for her. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this one. If you did, then make sure to smash that like button, and if you haven't already subscribed, go ahead and do so down below. Join our family. It's been amazing to see the amount of growth we had lately. And if you want to see me live, then make sure to go to twitch.tv/MipZ_live. I stream every single Friday. It's amazing, it's really fun, and I really enjoy hanging out, chatting a bit with you guys. So make sure to join in. But that is actually gonna be it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. As always, stay awesome, have fun, and take it easy, guys.